So that would be a reason, even more so, to move, because of sensitivity to that issue, that would be another reason, impetus, to move towards English for international communication or intercultural communication, rather than we're learning English to learn the English of the Americans and you have to know and conform in some way to American or British norms. Yes?
I think this would also cause the students' motivation to a great extent, telling them that they just learning the language is not just about speaking or getting something to register, but to make you some kind of culturally competent and knowing this, what people expect of you and how to lead towards a certain culture. So it might have an added advantage towards the students' motivation to learning the language.
Okay, could you all hear what she said? I'm just making a note, I want to pick up on certain culture. Yeah, she was saying that using English as lingua franca, rather than English of the English or the Americans, is a way to motivate students because it moves them beyond a target cultural assimilationist approach and says you're going to be able to use English for international communication, particularly with the internet, where there's so much available on the internet, available for downloading and available for uploading and communicating. But I want to pick up on one point which she said you, I mean, and it was just in passing, but I think it's an important point. By learning English, you'll learn how, or through the cultural component of our classes, you'll learn how to behave towards certain cultures. Okay, that's one of my main points today. We can't exhaustively teach every aspect, every politeness aspect, every cultural norm of every single culture that any of our students or that we will come in contact with. That's why I put this list of tolerance for ambiguity, self-monitoring for self-centeredness, tolerance of difference. I think we can teach the array, we can teach an array, but we cannot be exhaustive about the things we teach. So I think that we don't have to worry about teaching exhaustively whatever culture, whether it's a non-English speaking or an English speaking. What we want to teach are some of these things, and we're going to briefly get into some examples of doing that. Okay. So here we are, we're at the two views, whether to teach English as a second language and the English-speaking cultures as a second culture of some sort, amalgamated creatively, or to teach the intercultural. So, this is exactly the questions you've just raised. What is the second culture, the C2 of English? Where is the target culture? Should we teach a hodgepodge of cultural facts, knowing that we'll never be able to teach everything? We don't have the resources, we don't have the time. So my answer to all of this, I'll put it to you, but my answer to all of this is that we need to teach a few or a selected number of target culture or other culture facts, a hodgepodge, but in an integrated way. And I would move us to teaching the L2 and intercultural communication or intercultural competence. The question is how to integrate, and I'm going to get to that, but the question is how to integrate intercultural communication, intercultural competence into tight curriculum. People have textbooks, they have to teach to exams, etc. When this curriculum emphasizes the linguistic aspects over the communicative or cultural competence, I have an answer to that. Does anyone in the audience want to contribute? How could you, let's say you are on board, you want to teach intercultural competence for the reasons we've been talking about. How to do it in a curriculum or in a school, in a program that doesn't provide for anything more than an occasional reading here and there. I think I should give you a microphone.
install it the way you normally do. And then, when you start it, you get this page, or this little window, when you would like to open the application itself. So what you need to do is click on Use Free Version, and then the application itself opens. So this is how it looks like. And the good thing is that it's resizable, so you can take a video of any part of the screen you would like to. You don't have to take a video of the whole screen. So let's say you are giving feedback on an essay. You can just minimize the window a little bit and then set screen customatic to record only that part of the window. And on the other side, you may take notes for yourself. Like I want to talk about A, B, and C. And then you just start or just hit record after you have set everything. You can set the microphone. You can use, if you're using a laptop, you can use the microphone of the laptop itself, or you can use the microphone of the headset. Here you will see how well it is recording the voice, so the volume quality. And then here you can set again the sizing. If you would not like to use the corners to resize it, you can just say, I would like to record small HD. And then you can set the web camera, or if you prefer not to record yourself, you can just say, I don't want to use the camera at all. So you still have the option not to use it. And then the X, of course, says you would like to exit the application, but we don't want to do that right now. So let's say we would like to take, let's say you would like to take a video of this presentation right here. So then I'm going to hit record, and it gives you 3 seconds to prepare, compose yourself, and start recording. And then it is recording, it is showing you how many minutes you have passed so far. And once you are done and you are satisfied with the feedback you have given, you can just say done. Once you do that, it's going to take you to this page right here. It is going to give you 3 options in the free version. It's going to give you the option to publish it to Screencast-O-Matic itself, the database of Screencast-O-Matic, or to publish it to YouTube, or to publish the video to your desktop as a video file. So it downloads it to your desktop. If you are okay and satisfied with what you have done, then you just click down to this recording. But if you are not, and if you would like to go back, you of course have to click on back. And in that case, you can either, by pressing the record button, continue from where you have left off, if you have not finished, or you realize you forgot to say something to the student. Or you can say restart, to restart the whole video. And the same is with done. You're just going to the done page, and then you can save the file wherever you would like to. So that's pretty much it about the program itself. So I think you can see how easy it is to operate it. It's very user-friendly. It doesn't really require any technical knowledge whatsoever. So in the third part, I would like to just quickly go through the feedback I have received from the students, and as well as one other instructor who used it with a visually impaired student. So the student feedback was overall very positive. They were very happy because it's a different type of experience. Finally, they reported that they could easily comprehend the whole feedback itself, because sometimes they were confused. What does that marking mean? Especially if they got really indirect feedback, when you want the student to actually do something, think of the mistake, and find the solution him or herself. That can be a very challenging task, especially if you are dealing with students with a lower proficiency level. So they found it much more comprehensible and easier to understand and correct and do anything with it. And they felt that it's more personal. They actually felt like, oh, the teacher is talking to me, because you can customize the feedback. You can talk to the student directly, like, Nada, you did something really well, or you did something like, kind of not so okay. So you can customize it in the way you want to, and they really like that. They feel that the teacher is actually more personally involved and cares more about them, which is very important. And it motivated them much more, and they felt like the quality of the feedback is much better because they can now understand it. They now know what to do with it. and they can provide a paper with less mistakes or no mistakes at all after, trying to make sense of it in the first place. And the good thing is also that they can stop the video, pause the video, rewind the video, so they can listen to it as many times as they need to. So they found it more useful overall. And as I have mentioned, a colleague of mine has visited with a student who is visually impaired, and it was much more beneficial for him because he could hear the feedback and therefore be able to make more sense of it and correct it. Of course, with someone whose hearing whose hearing is impaired, it could be problematic. But with someone who has problems with reading or with vision, it's much more beneficial and useful. So just to wrap up, the pros and cons of the program is that it's very, very useful. It's very easy to use, and it doesn't really require much of a technological knowledge from us as teachers, because that's very important, that it's not too complicated to use or complicated to learn in the first place. And it's a highly efficient method. All of the students I have talked to, maybe one or two were the exceptions, who just complained about the length of the video, that it might be too much to watch, but then they can pause it, go eat something, come back and continue listening to it. So it was a highly efficient method in my class. And the students had a very, very positive attitude to it. And the instructor feedback also from others was very positive. And it's free, so why not use it then? And what I noticed as well is that I usually spend a lot of time writing up that feedback. And that's why it makes me so frustrated when I found that they don't do anything with it. It feels like they don't even look at it. But in this time, I found that I can finish a paper in maximum 5 to 10 minutes, which is very good. Usually I just spend 30, 40 minutes writing up that feedback, because of course as we speak, it's much faster than we write, so it's much easier. Now, the cons or the disadvantages which we could list is that I had a hard time thinking of these, so I wanted to come up with something, because of course everything has disadvantages to some extent. So I was thinking, okay, what might be the difficulty with this program? And I found that it might take slightly longer initially, because you might do several recordings that, oh, this wasn't really good, oh, I forgot something and I didn't go back to restart it again. So it might take longer for you initially, but once you get into it, practice makes perfect. You're going to get really good at it. And it also requires teachers to implement the think aloud method successfully. The think aloud method is when you are saying out loud what you are thinking. And this is exactly what you have to do once you are recording the screen on a written piece of assignment, because you are commenting on it as you go. And sometimes, it's just, in your head. But in this case, you have to say it, so it makes sense to the student. This also takes a little bit of practice, but you can get into it as you go on. And if you have 20 students, the first time you do 20 of these videos, and you're going to get rid of it really quickly. So I also have some suggestions of further usage, but this is just about giving feedback on written assignments. What you can also do is record plus material. Let's say you don't have time to finish something, or you ran out of time and you had this one piece of information you still wanted to convey. What you can do is use this application or this software, provide a sort of flipped classroom experience for the students. That means that you are going to create your PowerPoint, or you already have it. So you're just going to record it and narrate it alone as you go through the slides. And then you're going to post this video or share this video with the students. Let's say you post it to YouTube. So you're just sharing this video with the whole class. And then they can catch up on that piece of information. I actually have done this because I ran out of time and I wanted the students to know that piece of information well. So I created a video and I gave it as a homework. You have to go home and you have to watch it. And then we discussed it very shortly in the next class. So it worked quite well. What you can also do is clarifying instructions. You have explained something, but you find that the students are having difficulties with this. So you can go home, record the video, explain it again, Because the advantage of this is, again, they go home, watch it, and they can just rewind it as many times as they need to understand that piece of information. Or giving feedback on any other assignment. Let's say you have given an oral present, or the students have given an oral presentation. You can give feedback on this very briefly, like you have the rubric in front of you and you just explain to the students, you did this really well, you did this not so well, or you need improvement on these areas. So I think this software is very useful for giving feedback in general, but there are also other areas where you can use it as teachers. And since it's free, I think we should use it and take advantage of these technologies. Any questions? Yes?
I think I was thinking about what is the strategy for giving feedback orally?
Orally?
On written?
Yes, I sometimes get the students to come to my office and discuss it, their essay with the comments on it. Because I mainly teach students who have lower proficiency level. So sometimes they write something, I give comments on it, and they cannot really make sense of what do I want from them. They don't really see the problem with what they have written. So I ask them to come to my office, we discuss their paper, I explain those comments in more detail, and ask them, okay, can you try rewriting it right now to see if you understand it correctly or not? But that takes a lot of time. And we don't really have time to have every student in our office, right? Because we just don't have time for that. And that's why I was thinking, okay, let's try this. They can hear me, and I don't just put comments. When I find a mistake, instead of putting just one comment, I explain it in greater length, like I would do in my office. So what I found is it was much easier for them to understand what I want from them to do.
Yeah. For example, you can say, for example, check the grammar.
Yeah, check the grammar.
Check the spelling, what goes
Or sometimes they just hold those mistakes. Like when it's a grammar mistake, they just write G on the margin. And they don't understand, okay, what's wrong with it. So you can say, well, here there is a grammar mistake, and then you can maybe give a little bit of explanation. Because sometimes they don't see the mistake, or they don't understand what the mistake is. And that's why they are not revising the paper in the first place. It's not that they don't want to. Of course, it could happen. But oftentimes, it's not that they don't want to, it's just they don't know how to do it. So this actually doesn't really give them space to say, I don't understand.
It's not formal feedback.
No, it's formatted. It's not summative assessment. It's not to give a grade. It's formative to help them progress. Yes.
Does this mean that I should receive the homework or the assignment soft copies, not hard copies?
Sure. Yes. That's what
So what happens?
Well, if you have hard copies and they are typed, then you can scan it and make it a searchable PDF when you're scanning it, because then you get the PDF and you can still highlight areas.
That's double the, double the effort.
I know. That's how you can get the students to try to type, because eventually they will have to type. So they can practice. And I wanted to show you one more thing.
Do you have a model for
Exactly.
Unfortunately, I don't. But what you do is, okay. So when you are recording, even if you just scan the document and it's handwritten and you cannot really highlight anything, as you go on in the recording, I'm just going to move the mouse right now to show you something. Let's go to the desktop. And then it's there for us to use. Alright, so as you see, the cursor is highlighted with a circle. So even if it's something that is like a handwritten piece of paper and you just scan it, the student will see which area you're talking about without highlighting it. So it doesn't have to be a document or a searchable PDF for you to highlight, because they will see which part of the paper you're talking about. So hopefully this could solve the problem, but if it's just extra work, maybe you are better off giving the written feedback. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you.
My name is NileTESOL and I'm going to introduce to you some apps which can be used in classroom. First, I bought my first laptop and my first iPad just to watch movies because I commute every day. But I thought that this is the best way to spend my time while riding the bus. And then I figured out that iPad can be used in classroom, and there are lots of apps that can give feedback for teaching, for making like an interactive whiteboard and so on. My presentation today is about giving feedback. And sometimes when we ask our students to write in class, you see like one of the essays that, this is the best essay that I want to share with all my students. Right? And sometimes you see a paragraph or an essay that has lots of common mistakes that when you give your feedback, you don't want it to be individual feedback. You want like everybody to see the student's paragraph or essay on the data show, and then you start giving your feedback, right? So that's how I started. How can I do that? Can I take a photo of the student essay in class and share it with my students? Yes, this is possible with our first application, which is Desari. Desari is an app that turns your board into an interactive whiteboard where you can insert a photo, which is the student essay, and at the same time you can start writing, giving you feedback, okay? What's great about it is that it has like screencasting. Have you just seen the screencasting part? Exactly. So while you're giving your feedback, it records your oral feedback to your students. So let me show you. This is how it looks like. Okay? Can you see? This is like an interactive whiteboard where I have lots of colors, lots of fonts. I can insert a photo, the student essay, okay, that I've just taken a photo of, and then it allows you to, if I have it here, unfortunately the cable doesn't work. Whenever you write anything that you write it just using a pen, okay, or your finger, you write it here, you give your feedback here, and it goes directly to the data show, okay? Let me show you one sample, how it goes.
I don't need capital letters.
So,
hello Mustafa, this is a good start for writing an essay. Also you can improve it by paying more attention to capitalization, as you see
can
here.
you see? So, what you write, okay, and what you,
Capital letter.
while you are giving your oral feedback, both of them go together. That's the idea of screencasting.
I
Okay?
can see that.
Okay. Can I answer the question after? Okay. Once you are done with your screencasting video, you can either choose to publish it on YouTube, to send it to the student email or students' emails if you want it to be shared with everybody, or you can simply just save it and just divide it into photos or whatever the way you want. I mean, there are lots of editing there that you can do with this. Okay, you just drag and choose what is the function that you want to do it. And then I started to have like more needs for, can I use my iPad while moving around in class? For example, I don't like standing, okay? Just at the table and that's it. I like to move a lot in class. So can I remotely control the data show using my iPad while I'm moving in class? Yes, that was possible using AirSketch. AirSketch is also an app that turns your board into an interactive whiteboard. Okay, and at the same time, what's great about it that's not available in the story is that you can remotely control it. So that's how it looks like. So you have lots of colors. You have a font change, for example, okay, the way you want your font to be. Can you see? There is an icon for inserting a photo. So you take a photo in class instantly and share it with the students. And then while doing that, you can start writing. Okay, whatever you want to write will appear instantly